Hey guys, it's Brad. Welcome to Brad's World. If you're new to my channel, I am an American migrant living in Italy. I've lived here for a little over 3 years now full-time. Live here with my wife, Olivia. If you know my channel, you know Olivia and our 3 dogs. I make videos a lot about real estate, sometimes about other things, about what it's like moving to Italy and things that you should know about and bringing your dogs, all sorts of stuff. And I did a video about an apartment in Lucca. And one of the comments I got, I'll put it here, and I'm paraphrasing, but I'll put the comment here, was the last thing I want to do is move to Italy and hear all Americans talking when I come out in the morning. So I thought it would be interesting to look at who is really moving to Italy, okay? So I want you to put your thinking caps on, and I want you to think, what percentage of people moving every year to Italy do you think come from America? And how many Americans do you think are currently living in Italy as registered residents? Now, for the purpose of this video, all the numbers that I'm giving you are directly from the Istituto Nazionale di Statistica of Italy. It is a government agency. They every year publish how many people live in each comune, each town, each state. They have all sorts of information, and you can find it here when you go on their website. So we're going to cover the top 10, and let's see where America falls, because as you know, there's a huge amount of information and videos online about moving to Italy, Americans moving to Italy, buying €1 homes, living in 7% areas, all sorts of stuff. Millions and millions of videos. So I think you're going to be surprised exactly where America falls. So let's knock out the first 5 of the top 10 right away. So number 10, the Philippines, with 153,000 registered residents living in Italy in 2025. Next up is Pakistan at number 9 with 171,000. India is number 8 with 171,500 registered residents living in Italy. Egypt with 174,141 registered residents living in Italy. And rounding out the top 5, Bangladesh. Bangladesh with 213,000 residents in Italy. Let's get into the top 5. So Ukraine is at number 5 with 287,000 residents. That's 287,000 Ukrainians on a Ukrainian passport with an Italian residency card, like I have, the permesso di soggiorno, the permission to stay. It is a very high number, and you know why, because of the war. It's also one of the most skewed populations in that there's 3 Ukrainian women in Italy as residents for every Ukrainian male. The numbers have started to drop precipitously on the number of new arrivals. China, number 4. China has 311,000 people living in Italy with residency permits. Number 3, Morocco. Morocco has 412,000 Moroccans living in Italy with residency cards as of 2025. There's a large number of new Moroccans coming every year, mainly through family reunification, or as you might call it if you're in the United States, chain migration. Number 2, you ready? Albania. Albania, back in about 91-ish, had a government overthrow, and there was hundreds of thousands of people that moved to Italy. So of course now, 30 years on, there's a lot of family reunification, there's people coming here for work. There's a really close connection between Albania and Italy, always has been. I do believe that 25% of Albanians in Albania speak some or fluent Italian. Well, that gets us to number 1. There are so many Americans here in Italy that they might, wait, what's that? Not even in the top 10? Who is it? Romania. Romania has the most foreign nationals living in Italy with residency permits. 1,053,042. Romanians at the end of 2024, beginning of 2025, were living in Italy with residency permits. So what happened to all the Americans that are flooding into Italy? So at the beginning of January 2025, there was 17,650 Americans living in Italy with residency permits. Like me, I'm one of those people. Now, a little caveat here, maybe two caveats. One is, these numbers don't include people that might be doing the 90-day bounce. If you haven't already seen it, you can go to my website, 90dayvisabounce.com. It's a free website. I just made it to be informational. It shows you how to move from one country to another and where you can go and how long you can stay. It has a trip planner. It has a day counter on it, all sorts of stuff. And a lot of people are doing that. They are not included in the 17,650 people that were here as of January 1st, 2025. It also does not include Americans who got their Italian citizenship or maybe already had it and have moved into Italy. They're not counted because the number is the number of US passport holders who are living in Italy as residents. Did the number surprise you? Will the number surprise you even more about where we fall in the worldwide population of people that are living in Italy? What do you think America's place is from all the nations that have people living here? Are you ready? You got a number? Number 24, number 36, number 48. We are slightly less people here than Afghanistan and slightly more than Venezuela. And that's the truth. All the videos you're watching about so many people moving here and there's big lines to move here, the reality is a little more subtle. A lot of people like being here, but people like me that have gone to the effort to get the permesso di soggiorno and to move here full-time is actually very, very small. I don't think you're going to have to worry about waking up and hearing a bunch of Americans speaking English outside your window anytime soon in Italy. So that's the answer to the question, but I want to dig just a little bit deeper before I let you go. How long do you think most Americans actually stay? I pulled up information on the Istat, that's the Italian statistics website from the Italian government, about how long people actually stay. On average, there's less than 10,000 Americans getting residency permits issued for the first time, like I did in 2024. But there's only 17,650 Americans that are living here as of January 1st, 2025, that have gotten permits 2 years before that, 5 years before that, 10 years before that. So what happens? There's a large number of people that drop off years. And I think that's surprising. And I think it's something you need to think about very carefully. If you're planning on buying a property here, especially those of you who are thinking of buying a property in a place that has huge population loss and where in some areas of Italy, there's already less than 50% of the homes actually occupied. You need to think very carefully about making an investment into real estate, because if the average person is staying less than 5 years, you're going to have to sell that property. And I tell people this all the time, and please remember this. It's easy to buy a property in Italy. It's pretty easy to fix up a property in Italy. It is very difficult to sell a property in Italy, especially when 42% of everything around you is vacant. So something to keep in mind. You're planning on a full-time permanent move to Italy, but the reality may be very, very different. So what's the future hold for Italy? Some of the numbers are pretty scary. Italy is the tale, really, of two areas. There's central North Italy, and then there's southern Italy. If you don't think that there's a compelling reason for the Italian government to give you a 7% tax rate if you want to move to certain areas of southern Italy, you're missing the big picture. The Italian government estimates that by 2050, if current trends continue, there will be an additional loss from today of 3.9 million people in southern Italy. That would be places like Campania, Calabria, Sicily, Sardinia, Puglia. 3.9 million less people. How many more vacant homes is that going to be? How many more vacant villages will that be? Something that you really need to think about. What's the Italian government doing? Well, there's a huge labor shortage here. The government has just released another 500,000 work permits for 2026, 2027, and 2028. About 166,000, more or less, new permits every single year to get more foreign workers to come here. Where are they coming from? Places we already talked about. They're coming from Bangladesh, India, Morocco, Egypt, places that you can come to Italy and have a much better life than maybe you have currently. I personally think it is very heartwarming how the Italian government and the Italian people are welcoming all these new immigrants, because let's face it, Italy had sent immigrants out to the rest of the world for over 100 years. They estimate that between 1876 and 1976, between 22 and 25 million Italians left Italy. That's a lot. And now things have changed. Italy is having a lot of immigrants come here. So please, stop worrying about, are you going to stick out like a sore thumb here? If you're American or Australian or Canadian, you're not even a rounding error on the total population of foreign-born people living in Italy. Americans only make up 0.03% of the population of Italy as a whole, and only 1/3% of all the immigrant population here in Italy that's holding current residency visas. You are going to fit in just fine in this worldwide melting pot that is the new Italy. All right, that's all I have for today, guys. I have a lot of new videos coming up talking about these statistics, talking about different things that are going to be very important to you. And it's important that you separate the social media hype from the reality of what's going on here on the ground. And I'm very happy to be the guy here in Italy that can bring it to you without all the hype. All right? Olivia says hi. We'll see you guys soon on Brad's World. Ciao.